Hello guys, this is a pre-market analysis. So today I'm not able to tell exactly, what can be the view because market is again in a state of confusion. Iran reportedly have fired at, US helicopter, and then US is also attacking back. And now at the same time, the peace agreement is almost concluded, and, US is almost in agreement with that. So there are some positives, there are negatives also, and US markets have also closed mixed. And at one point it was down. Nasdaq at one point it almost was almost down by 1,000 points and recovered 750 point. And Gift Nifty also at one point it was down and recovered also. Now one more thing, oil price have also came down despite all these. So a lot of things are happening, but we are not in a position to take a concrete view. So let's look at the technical first, and then let's see what happened yesterday, and then I'll tell you all these developments. So based on that, we'll have to make a view, and then when market opens, we have our own issues also. Otherwise, yesterday we should have got a good move, right? So why I'm talking about that is because let me show you this. So yeah, guys, this is our yesterday's price action. Now this is where previous day market closed, right? So that day also there was some negativity, and from this level 23,500 level it came and closed at around this level because of some selling have happened on RBA policy day. But then there was a big gap down because of the weekend developments which happened, right? So big gap down, and that day it was clearly negative. US markets were crashing. Nasdaq was 4% down. Oil price was also hiking. Iran was attacking Israel. So escalation was there. Now comes yesterday, almost everything got settled. There is a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. There is an agreement which is coming, and crude price was crashing. We got a gap up. So there is a gap down. No, normally gap down is getting bought, gap up is getting sold. That is there. But this gap up, we never thought it will just get sold into. Yes, it just got sold into. They filled the gap, but there was no need for them to come to this 23,100 actually, unless it's not an expiry day. It wouldn't have happened also. So it's a clear straddle game. That's what I thought actually. And then gap filling, and I've taken a trade also. Gap filling got the premium doubled. I've attached that video. All those are there. In fact, as a trader, you got an opportunity. But if you look at the market, it should not have happened, right? Because whatever is the reason why we got this gap down, now that reason is gone. Why still our market is, at least if not further up, why market is not filling that gap? If this reason is gone, right? US markets, last day we have seen that is also better and recovering. Crude price is also crashing. We are expecting a gap up and a further move. But okay, gap filled, but they were able to come. And if you look at the last 2 days, there's a first candle, closes also in the first candle. Yesterday, there's a first candle, down move, closes at the first candle itself. Now, actually things are mixed. So we are looking for a gap down actually. So then this gap remain unfilled for maybe 2 3 days also. But what I want to see is today is whether they are going to bounce from here and is going to fill. Yesterday, the way Bank Nifty behaved, it was like Nifty would have easily gone and filled the gap. But IT has been completely dragged because there is a global side profit booking also on the semiconductor side and AI sector. And then there is another reason also for this profit booking, because the SpaceX, IPOs coming, and OpenAI, and then Anthropic. So investors want to pool their money to invest in that, because there is no fresh money, there is no fresh liquidity in the market. That could be the reason existing shares are sold, and they are trying to look for that IPO. So could be the reason why IT especially sell-off is happening, the profit booking is happening. But the point is, see, whatever was the reason for this gap down, that's no more there. And still, if you're not at least covering the gap, forget about up move, if you're not able to come to that 23,400 level at least, then that shows our market weakness. Despite this withholding tax relief and everything, that is expected to bring 40-50 billion. And that's why banks have got benefited. And last day we have seen PSU banks were doing good. Yesterday, private banks also rallied, but Nifty is dragged because of IT. So what I thought is, yes, it could be an expiry game, because they don't want to move straight from here so that the call sellers will get trapped. So you got a down move, perfect straddle play. You got an up move, closed exactly where it opened. So that's a perfect straddle play. So till market close yesterday, what I thought is It's like that. But now it looks like it's clearly a weakness in the Indian market. At least they couldn't fill the gap if not happening today. If it is happening today that they at least fill the gap, it's perfectly fine. Otherwise, that shows a clear weakness. So that's what I want to talk about the structure as of now. Otherwise, when you get a gap up, now things are very simple. It just gets sold into. When you get a gap down, it's just getting bought into. So here it is a gap up, it just sold. Here it is a gap down, it just got bought. Here it's a gap down, sell off, and then they recovered. Right? Yesterday also sell off and they recovered. So now things are like this. But today, more of confusion. Even yesterday, we had a clear view that we will buy on dips. And at least when the gap filled, you got the best opportunity. 20 MA also, when you followed that, you got the best opportunity. But today we are not in a position to tell that. Looking at what is actually happening, a lot of mixed cues is what we are actually getting. Because even during Indian market hours yesterday, a US helicopter was shot. In fact, it's went down, and initial reports were mixed, but some were suggesting mechanical failure, and some claiming that the helicopter was shot down by Iran. And later, US President Trump have told, you know. Trump, in fact, accused Iran for shooting down the helicopter, and he confirmed that both pilots are safe but injured. Then this deal is also coming in progress. The Sky News Arabia have reported that US have received a fresh proposal from Iran, and according to those reports, if you see, the proposal has received the preliminary acceptance from the Trump administration, and it's, I think, for the first time you are getting a report and getting a acceptance. So far, you're sending a proposal, and it is sent back for modification. You send again and it is sent back for modification. For the last few weeks, this is what we were seeing, but now this is like a preliminary acceptance from the Trump administration. So the details are not available in public, but the current scenario is, see, Trump has looking for a retaliation against Iran for the attack on helicopter by accusing them attacked and shot down the helicopter. But at the same time, Iran have proposed a deal which received a preliminary acceptance from US. Now, what should I tell you? Whether if Trump is attacking Iran, then that's going to be big negative for the market. But if this Trump administration have accepted preliminary acceptance itself is a big positive. So, retaliation threat is definitely negative, but there is a progress towards deal is also, which is very good positive as well. So market is currently, like, I would say, balancing both the developments. So I'm not in a position currently to tell you either to buy on dips or sell on rise. Okay, so looking at what is actually happening in our market, it will be very easy for sellers with non-directional position, but buyers, we cannot take a non-directional position. For my selling cases, it is going to be very easy today. Right now, one other thing is that it is positive. Oil markets, if you see, oil price have declined around 3%. WTI is down to 88. Brent is 91. Very good. So that's a positive development for India also, and we should do well in our market. But again, US market, there is now other concern. That is not going to affect much on India. Yes, Fed interest rate hike and all, it may affect if FIIs were, very aggressive buying or selling India, but now selling only, and it's almost exhaustion also. The inflation fear, the possibility of future inflation, the possibility of future interest rate hike is there. So analyst is expecting US inflation will be around 4.2, and that will be more than double of Fed target. So official inflation data will be coming tonight. So other than that, also in US market now the pressure is because of AI related profit booking. Semiconductor stocks are booking profits, and that is the reason also I've told you the new IPO, SpaceX and OpenAI is also coming accordingly, and then Anthropic. So investors want to move to that as well. So from where they will bring money, the fresh funds has to be, you don't have fresh liquidity means you'll have to sell the existing one. So that could be one of the reason. And Dow has closed slightly positive yesterday, 0.2. S&P slightly negative 0.2. Nasdaq closed down nearly 1%. That's related to IT stocks. So at one point, if you see, Nasdaq was 4% down, 1,000 point. In fact, around 1,000 point down, more than 4%, much more than 4%. And then later it recovered 750 point and just 1% down. So VIX increased actually 5% and now moved closer to 20. Okay, so GIFT Nifty also initially, it moved higher. Actually, when the market opened, US market initially was positive. So GIFT Nifty at one point it moved to 23,400 level. So in that case, we might have got around 50 to 100 point gap up. But then it fell to 23,100 level. when the US market have weakened and then recovered almost 160 point. So now it is trading at around 23,260. So if our market, if it is at 240, GIFT Nifty is 260, that means 20 premium. Now, if you see Nifty 50 and Nifty futures, what is the premium here, which is almost 90 points. So 240. So it should be ideally 80 point premium, right? 320. GIFT Nifty should have been 320. So, but it is 260. So what is the difference between 260 and 320? That's around 50, 60 points. So we are looking for a gap down of 50, 60 points at this point. So market will be opening. Okay, sorry, screen is not shared. Anyway, yesterday we got a dip somewhere here. So market will be opening here. So market will be opening here. So it is very easy to take a non-directional bet. Opening today is a day where you can start selling a straddle. Once they break out this high, then you can sell more puts. And once you break, in case if the low is breaking, you can sell calls and you can do the adjustments. You can then turn directional because it's almost opening in exact middle of yesterday. In that case, it's better to start with non-directional position, sell a straddle, and accordingly we can adjust. See, this is a modern way of selling options. It's not that traditionally what you did and you took a straddle, keep a stop loss, and you keep move forward with that for the entire day. That's not the case. Okay. So ADRs also, if you see ADRs, ICICI almost in line with the Indian market close, no fresh movement. Infosys also in line with the Indian market. It was negative, no fresh indication. Wipro also. HDFC increased significantly, and that's actually indicating a positive arbitrage. And it could be because of that Bombay High Court rejected the 9,000 crore defamation case against HDFC Bank. That could be one of the reasons. Then, apart from that, yeah, FIS yesterday also they sold for 4,600 crore. DIS bought for 6,200 crore. So I think yesterday FIS dragged the market. And participant-wise, OI. Yesterday it was expiry day, so 46% call OI removed, 29% put open interest removed. So that's actually good. In fact, put OI removed compared to that call OI removed 46%. That is higher. So put call ratios improved to 1 to 1.04. That's actually looking bullish. But developments which has happened after that, it is looking negative also, but mixed as well. Right, PCR is actually positive. So there are positive factors like oil price have fallen, US-Iran deal is progressing, which is positive. ADRs are also not showing much weakness, and HDFC ADR is showing strength because that could be the reason I told you the Bombay High Court judgment. Negative factors, Trump have threatened for retaliation. That's the negative one. And US inflation concern is there. And profit booking in AI and semiconductor themes and EU sanction package also can affect some Indian companies, oil companies. So that I just skipped it. There is no point in wasting time in discussing that. That is one negative factor which is related to oil companies. Apart from that, according to investing.com, US military have begun self-defense strikes also on Iran. So overall views, like again, difficult to say what to do. Right, I would say non-directional. It is for sellers, I can tell. For buyers, it will be difficult. Maybe yesterday's high, you can get an opportunity. Breakout of yesterday high opportunity or a reversal from there is a possibility. Or yesterday's low breakdown will be an opportunity or support will be an opportunity. So these are the points that I want to discuss, guys. Thank you so much. I see you tomorrow. And if you would like to join our live market mentoring program, get in touch with us. We can trade together. See you there.